Coming in hotter than Tom Brady to the right ear of Jeffrey Ross after an ill-timed Robert Kraft joke. It is the crossover event of the millennium. With all due respect to the Avengers and everyone that attended the Los Angeles Forum roast of Tom Brady tonight, the GROAT indeed. It's the Six Rings boys, Andy Hart and Nick Fitzy Stevens, alongside Rich Keefe and R. Von D, Ryan Von Davey, Davey Eyeballs in the house, hashtag dork. Six Rings podcast coming together for the review of the Tom Brady roast, the GROAT, tonight on Netflix. Thanks everybody for joining us. We are live across the WEEI, the Dork Podcast, the Fitzy GFY socials. I'm so sorry there are no Andy Hart socials that we can include, but all close.
Go fuck yourself. I'm in the mood to swear. I just watched 3 hours of ripping somebody in F
tonight. You know what?
Fitzy.
Yeah. The only thing that's going to be shorter than that roast is you piece of shit. All right. That's the way we should handle things tonight as well.
It's a roast.
Yeah, it's a roast. Exactly. And I just want to get right to that.
How big's that fucking forehead you got there?
Oh my God, my 17 head. Holy smokes. Real quick, just want to say it was great. It was a lot of fun to watch. So was season 1 of Shogun. So was Children of the Flowers Moon. And let me just go around the room real quick. Rich, Davey, and Andy. Just an immediate reaction to the GROAT, the roast of Tom Brady.
Yeah, first of all, it was like the Snyder cut of roasts. It was the longest roast I'd ever seen. However, it was very good. I was keeping track of every single person that went, and I was trying to rank them, which I can get to later. But I'm looking at the list. I only think the bottom 2 or 3 sucked. I think everybody else brought like a ton of laughs, and they went for it. It was a full-on roast, which I was happy to see. Nothing was off limits. I thought they kind of crushed it overall.
Yeah, there was definitely some like what we would call the messy middle in education. There was like it started out guns blazing hot. I was like legitimately laughing. I was lolling. I was laughing out loud, and then towards the middle, the second hour. You started to get some misses, but brought it back around in the end. So I thought it was yeah, for sure.
And then when you took an intermission and had a cigarette break and put more money in the meter for your card and came back in. Yeah, I mean it was epic. So Netflix advertised, Andy, that it would start at 8:00. It finished. We're going live. We went live at 11:06 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It finished at 11:05. So it was over 3 hours long. It was longer than Oppenheimer, just a whisker short than the Patriots losing to the Bills in our final Six Rings game last year. A lot of jokes can be made about it, but in terms of the surface itself, the roast, what did you think?
Loved it. Absolutely. Great. And I don't mean to play your side of the street as like super fan Fitzy fuck or whatever, but
wow, that felt personal.
I didn't think there was a single bit of meat left on the bone. I thought, I literally was trying to think, what didn't they poke fun at? What didn't they hit on? And they nailed it. And I was stunned at how good the players not named Randy Moss were. Randy Moss was atrocious.
Sadly, the worst. Which I feel like he didn't get any help. I feel like he was like, I can write it. And
don't you feel like Randy Moss thought the assignment was like, let me just be true to the form and like talk about Tom the player, and no one said like, hey, you actually he was better in the funny thing is he was actually, I think, guys, he was better in the dynasty than he was at the roast tonight, whereas like everybody else was better tonight.
It's not a best man speech, it's a roast on Netflix in front of millions of people, and he went up there and just begged for a ring the whole time. And I'm like, I love Randy Moss, one of my favorite players of all time. He was the biggest disappointment. He's the only one you can't argue. He was unfortunately
the worst. And there were so many things. Like I say, they hit on everything. I knew it would be Kraft happy ending, Belichick's girlfriend. Although, they snuck in 9/11 jokes and Hamas jokes, and I was like, holy crap.
Brady made a 9/11 joke. It was not. I was not prepared for that.
No.
And, also, just how many people went with Aaron Hernandez, not just the comics, but the fucking guys on the team went with Aaron Hernandez.
Unreal.
And like both him as a murderer and him hanging himself were like the jokes. I was like, Jesus.
Rich, I thought they were actually going to cut the hung jokes because those would be like a little too staid and like kind of been played out. But like the fact that like 3 people went with Aaron Hernandez like would have killed jokes, like that was intense. But that also meant that most of these guys were there for the form, like they were there for the roast. Like you said, like this was a roast, Andy. Like you said, Ryan, like this was not meant to be like a gloves on type of affair. And I think we have, let's see, when exactly did we know?
Kevin Hart did. Before they even brought anybody else up there, Kevin Hart had the jujitsu instructor jokes.
No, wait, stop. So I have to stop you there because we joke on Dork Pod when we talk about someone being a Dracula.
Yeah.
Right? Like calling something a Dracula.
Yeah.
I die every time someone refers to any martial art as karate.
Oh,
he refused to say, but like any type of martial art, he kept calling it karate, like a karate teacher.
Isn't even true.
It's unbelievably funny.
Oh, when he went there, because Hart and I were on the air last week, and we got a text. So or we got a text into the show that was
somebody
like,
texted you guys. That's awesome.
And they were like, we got one text, and I'll read it now. No, and they said Giselle's off limits. And so you never know with the text line. Sometimes it's coming.
No, it's not
actual stuff. And
nothing's off limits in a roast, Rich. You're right.
It can't be. And if it is, that's really bad. And so when he's mentioning Giselle right out of the chute and like how you're divorced and you're like, all right, we're in good shape. But then it really just picked up steam from there because they went with a lot of like the good comics early. I was impressed with Kevin Hart. I've never found Kevin Hart as funny as I think I did tonight. And then Jeff Ross was good. Nikki Glazer,
Tom Brady is so simple and so effective. Fuck you, Tom Brady.
No, Nikki Glazer. I think we can go around. Let's go around the room in a minute and vote on who we thought was the best. And there's so many great comments coming in. Thank you guys that are watching now live on the #Dork YouTube channel, all the Six Rings podcast feeds, all the Fitzy GFY, WEI socials, and beyond. Let's go ahead and let's get the awkward out of the way first. I want to get you guys' response to the moment where we thought, oh no, is this going to go the way the Oscars did a couple of years ago after someone made an inappropriate Robert? Well, is it inappropriate to make a joke? I know. Well, hold on. Here we go. This was the Will Smith moment that we thought was going to derail the night. It was early on in the first half hour. Take a listen.
Decision your organization has ever made. Would you like a massage? I love Robert Kraft. I love that shit again. Okay.
So that was Tom Brady coming up to Jeff Ross, the Roastmaster General, considered basically the best roaster, one of the finest like stand-up comics in America, and saying after the one Robert Kraft joke that was made in the first hour, and that was the end of all the Kraft jokes the rest of the night, and we thought that was all, open range and fair game. Don't say that shit again. Now, there was not an open hand slap. Nobody was assaulted.
I know. Motherfucking mouth.
Keep my owner's name out your motherfucking mouth. Now, I got to be honest. I got a little sweaty back here in the seat at the old Fitzatorium. What did you guys think?
Absolutely. It was one of those things where, like, when like your dad comes home and starts like screaming at your sibling and you just kind of like look at the floor. Like I had that moment where like I thought I was going to get yelled at too for doing absolutely nothing. Like I thought I was in trouble. It was really awkward.
Was that him just trying to be funny? Like, was that Brady trying to be funny? Because Kevin Hart does a great job. When people really zing hard, he stands up. Like that's just part of it. But that was sort of like, I don't know.
No,
man.
I don't think so.
Because you saw him turn, look at Kraft. Yep. Like you saw him turn and then get up.
Yeah.
Like, he didn't stand up right away.
That was off limits, or he felt which Fitzy, you said it. If Robert Kraft wants to sit there, when you enter that room, enter that room like you're in the octagon, like it's on. This is a fight. This is a real. And that was the one thing I didn't like, honestly, in the whole show. I mean, there were highs and lows, and it was a little long and other things like that. But like, if Robert wants to show up, which by the way, quick aside here. So Bears Nigerian's there, Bill O'Brien's there, Stacey James. There was a random crap ton of people sitting there that I was like, why is Bill O'Brien in the audience? You're like the BC coach now. Bears, you're his assistant.
I did a quick rip. I don't know when we'll get to it later. So I was just like when they would do crowd shots. You had Joel McHale, Dane Cook, Chelsea Handler, Todd Glass, Jim Gaffigan, Jim Gray, Shane Gillis, Kevin Euclid, Richard Kind. It was like
like all legendary actors, comedians, athletes, whatever else. Like it was a strange. I mean, I thought it was a great mix of Tom Brady friends, former teammates, actual comedians, celebrities, etc. But at the same time, like if you took an Apple iPhone portrait style photo panorama of that dais, you'd be like, I don't think these people will ever be considered in the same thought again, let alone ever on the same stage.
No. And Rodney Harrison, did you notice he seemed like not happy?
He checked his clock. He checked his clock a couple times. Or his phone. What time is it?
He was bored.
What the fuck was Dan? Like, I love Dan Copen and and Matt Light. I'm glad Matt Light was there just to be the butt of a couple of jokes. But like, how that like Dan Copen, Lonnie Paxton, who else? Nate Solder. A lot of people. Like, if you're usually
weird setup to have people on stage that aren't being a part of the roasting. Like all the roasts I've seen on Comedy Central in years past were always like just the people that were actually going to get a microphone. They had a second deck of people that weren't even involved. Some of them got ripped. I didn't even recognize the people really on the other side.
I didn't know who those. I was
behind the comedians. I didn't know. Who
you mean was. The upper tier on the right, right rear behind the credit? Yeah, exactly.
What the hell was that? Why
they
were
just got good seats? They're like, this is great. Look at it. We're so close to Brady.
Is it just like balance it out? Well, we got a second row of players. I guess we got a lot of celebs.
We got a lot of people saying that they thought Randy Moss was the worst roaster of the evening.
That is a fact.
Yeah,
no, I think that's a mistake. I don't think he was the worst. I think he was the nicest. Like you said, I don't think he understood the assignment. Like he was up there. He spoke well. I mean,
Gronk he must have known right away then, like, oh no, my stuff.
Yeah, but at that point, your stuff's the stuff.
Good point, Andy. At least he went early. Yeah.
I think Randy Moss had to have been the worst because he kept like double and tripling down, and it got kind of awkward about like, give me one of your rings. I'm like, just move on from that.
But it was also like he didn't dress correctly either, and people let him have it
which they made fun of. Here was Randy Moss's one point that he made that sort of like made us all smile, but then later on kind of made us feel bad.
Fuck, did we cheat when I was there?
Yeah, that was good, but then it was like that was all he had. And he's like, give me a ring. Please give me a ring. So he was bad. The other one who I thought was maybe as bad but more awkward was Ben Affleck.
Yeah.
Oh,
brutal.
Bad.
Call him out late, like, oh shit, here's like this big like Hollywood star. And all he does is kind of kiss Brady's ass. He's doing some weird thing with his mouth the whole time,
which means he's on cocaine.
He's on cocaine. He's
on the.
He did look thin.
I can't tell you how many people on my Twitter mentions, and thank you guys who are all watching us right now across all the socials and on Twitter as well. He 1000%. He gave up drinking years ago so he could get back tattoos of phoenixes and pay Jennifer Garner's lawyers. But holy smokes, that dude was on something tonight, Rick.
And he was just like trying to go after Bill, but he did it in such a weird way. And for all of us that have seen every Patriots game, it's like, no, I've seen Bill smile. I've seen Bill throw his hand, like pump his fist. Like, you could have gone more after like, don't you feel dumb letting Brady go? Like, I thought that was the angle he was going to go, but instead it was like, what are you going to do to make you happy? And I'm like, dude, that was rough.
Oh, that was also like, I'm a season ticket holder, like brag.
Yeah,
like sick, dude.
Okay. You're a multi-millionaire. Like,
yeah, great.
How many
by the way, Matthew Byrne, who's currently watching live on YouTube, says surprisingly, Bert Kreischer and Tom Segura were the worst. I didn't love that. Listen, and I love Bert Kreischer. I think Tom Segura is funny as shit. I think it when you have a roast, by the way, guys, that clocks in as we noticed, like at 3 hours and 5 minutes long.
Yeah.
And it's not a fucking fish show. Like then then that's a little too much. Like tonight, I felt like too much was enough. Like this didn't need to be the length of Brady defeating the Steelers in the AFC Championship.
No, you easily could have cut 4 or 5 of the people out, no problem. Right. I thought at least Kreischer and Segura, who aren't really my cup of tea necessarily. I thought like a couple years ago they were as famous. It seemed like they were on like a rocket ship. Now it's like, I don't know, the appearances I've seen them in like some of the podcasts, like, I don't know, whatever. Not my favorite people, but at least they did like a different thing. They had like the photos and they were going back and forth. So it like broke it up from just the one person up there being like, hey, Nikki Glazer's here. And like, here's a joke. Like, I thought that was better, but overall kind of forgettable. And if you're trying to get it down to 2 hours, you can easily bump Randy Moss. You can bump Bert and Tom. Yep. Sam J was pretty good, but Sam J I've never heard of until this point, and I don't know if you needed Sam J, although it did allow for the unbelievable kill Tony joke, maybe the best joke of the night that even Kevin Hart referenced when he got back up on stage.
It It could have been
Go ahead,
tightened
Andy.
up with, I thought, the players even. Like, even the good ones, you probably could have shaved, like,
All
a
right,
little
best
bit
player.
off each one. Best player?
Well,
I thought Julian Edelman.
I think
thought-
Edelman.
And
I
it
think
wasn't
hands
just
down Edelman.
the delivery was forget the content, the
Yep.
delivery and the comfort.
We've
And
always
I'm-
known he's a
when he
great
did that,
performer,
"You're gay,"
Andy.
I laughed, like, it's as hard as I laughed. You're gay. Like, he explained the
He
joke.
just
the
goes
But
way
like
like
we've
that.
seen ever since, like as funny as Sam Morrill is, ever since he got rid of Sam Morrill on his podcast, wherever Sam Morrill is now, and has started doing like the Games with Names podcast on his own, like he's in his bag right now. Like the last year, Edelman has really found his zone as a performer. I don't have an Edelman clip.
He was real good. I was really
I thought he
put
was
him
great,
up
but
there
I do
with
have a.
with the other comedians. I put him right up there with
and
those guys.
The Glazer girl was right. Like, when she mocked him early. First of all, she was really good. I'm not familiar.
Oh,
with her.
Nikki
she's
Glazer was the
fantastic.
best.
Nailed
We'll
it.
get to her in a second, Andy. Yeah.
When she was mocking him for like the one eye and the CTE thing, I was wondering, like, how's this going to go? Same with Gronk. And those two, who are sort of idiots for different reasons and like versions of idiocy.
Yeah.
For that, like, that's a big stage. There's a lot of people live. There's a lot of people on TV. And I don't think what they did is easy, right? Like, going out there and doing that and delivering it
In front of
And Gronk
10,000
even-
people with knowing 5 million other people are watching live. Hell
Well, that's
no,
what I
dude.
mean, like, holy crap. This is like, as Gronk said, I get paid to run into large men. That's kind of my role in life. And I thought both of the Edelman was better.
Let's
I
talk
thought
about Gronk.
was
All right, let me run a clip from another former player that I thought did extremely well tonight.
For you, bud. So, hey, look, buddy, you know, you have more rings than I do, but I've experienced a couple things that you will never experience. You know, the feeling of being the #1 overall draft pick in the NFL. And a 28th wedding anniversary. It was yesterday.
Okay, I thought Bledsoe was fantastic. Again, like he was great in Tom versus Time. He was great in Man in the Arena. He was phenomenal in the Dynasty. Andy, by the way, it was nice to hear that the joke you gave me for the roast that I posted for the Fitzy GFY socials, that was definitely made by somebody. They probably vultured it from my roast. So therefore, guess what? You wrote for the roast tonight.
You're damn right. I want my how much do I make for that? Where's
Residual
the
zero. Narragansett.
No, but when you were talking about the best athletes, I was going to bring up Bledsoe because he crushed it, absolutely crushed it. And
So glad you feel the same way.
And especially out the gates, like kind of
He
getting
was,
it rolling.
he was great, David. He was great.
Also,
I think he's been on a run for years. I think he's been awesome.
To be fair, I feel like it was for different reasons, but he also was licking his lips a lot, and it was kind of distracting.
He did like this weird, like lizardy, like
top wetting that top lip. I'm like,
Rich,
all right.
Rich, I know you and I drink a lot of craft beer,
Yes.
but when you drink a lot of really good Cabernet Sauvignon,
That
the tannins and like
Whatever,
get a lot. Yeah, exactly.
Maybe he was just nervous, or maybe he was just sort of fired up, overzealous, whatever. I can tell you when I'm at high school lacrosse games and I yell at officials, my lips get dry too, and I have to lick my lips sometimes.
Andy, did you feel any reason to argue with anyone in line for pizza tonight during the roast?
I honestly just stayed off Twitter and just watched it. Like and I was watching it with like my son and my wife and some of the friends, and like I was interested in their reactions too. Like when different people felt first of all,
what did Mrs. Hart? So my wife was watching with me. She loved it. She couldn't believe a lot of the things that were said. I kept reminding her, like, honey, this is how roasts go. Like, they're awful, but it's all meant in love. And the truth always hurts a little bit more here, especially. Can
we yell at somebody real quick? John Baker. Sure. Belichick was fine. He was not awesome.
He was good.
No, Belichick was really good. We're going to get to Belichick in a second.
Yeah, him telling Matt Light to shut the fuck up was probably like the best part of the whole thing.
Didn't that just come out of nowhere?
Nowhere.
Wasn't that like, Davey? I feel like that was the Tina eat your ham of the all lines.
Eat the food,
you fat lard. Eat your food.
Yeah,
dude. When Belichick told Gronk, he's like, "I'm famous for saying do your job." But Gronk, I've watched you on Fox. Don't do your job.
Wait, actually, Rich, hold on one second. Hold on. That was my favorite. Hold on one second. That's my
NFL Sunday, and I'm begging you, please, stop doing your job. Do another job. Do somebody else's job.
What?
What a
Sorry,
great line.
Belichick. But he was Rich. He's really good at this. He was a little. He wasn't a full blown assassin, but he had great delivery. He was smiling.
No, my
He
favorite
knew
was
what he was going to say. That he was going to get a laugh. It was awesome.
when he was like, "I have like a big heart," and everyone's like, "Yeah, right." He's like, "No, I do." Jesus Christ, guys!
did.
He's like,
He did. He delivered that well.
He's
It
like,
may have been genuine.
I thought he was very, very good. Like, I just think this was overall a great roast. So, like, it's hard to be in the top 5 of the roast. There was 17. Like, if you count, Kraft's couple of minutes, if you want to include like Dana White, like there was almost 20 people that spoke. So,
and a roast should be rich. From my experience, if anyone else has ever done one, we've all watched a million. It should be 8 to 10 people tops. It should never be more than that because, I don't know if Netflix felt like because they were doing this as one of their first live events, if they invest because of the money. I mean, I'm sure they made a ton of money having this live at the Forum tonight. I'm sure the gate alone. I haven't heard from anyone as to what they paid to get in there.
What's Brady getting?
I bet it's charity.
I don't know, but I don't have a lot of great sources, Andy. And if I ever have a decent one, I try to share it on the Six Rings podcast. But I can tell you for a fact, I know a couple weeks ago, Brady was really, really regretful that he said yes to this. And you could probably,
whatever he gets for it, Giselle's getting half. So he can't.
Oh,
this is
come
on. There he is. Come on. In there singing them. No, I think you easily could have. I think what they also wanted to do was just for the star power because they're trying to make this a thing. You notice Jeff Ross and Kevin Hart mentioned haven't really done a lot of roasts in a while, and we're going to bring this back. This is going so well. Mm-hmm. So you didn't need Ben Affleck or Kim Kardashian, but at the same time, they're probably all right, this blows us out the water for the non-football market. If we have these two people on, it was a waste of time to have either one of them, really.
Yeah, they added nothing.
No. Yeah, Davey, you can marry fucking kill a one roaster from tonight's presentation.
Oh boy, are we talking? Okay.
Wait, is this
shit. You
probably put the Tom Brady. Let's play the Tom Brady roast to MFK.
Okay, so I am gonna kill off Gronk. Believe it or not.
What? Really?
Right off the top.
Fuck out of here.
Dude, I did not do it for me. He was a mess.
I kind of liked it. I also think you have to have him on because you need Belichick mentioned how Gronk's taken the third most shit on the night. And I've always mentioned on when Pam Anderson got roasted, she famously brought Courtney Love there. So most of the roasts
as a fucking human shield in the Israeli-Hamas war.
But 80% of the jokes were Courtney Love that night.
Yeah, let me see if I have actually a Gronk joke from Nikki Glazer. Hold tight. Here we go.
$30 million in crypto. Tom, how did you fall for that? I mean, even Gronk was like, me know that not real money.
Me know that not real money is the one time I legitimately spit up my beer on my.
I think you have to have him there though, and then
that's the easiest thing. Make Gronk sound dumb. Rich is the easiest thing to do. Yet a beautiful blonde who has an assassin's blade out there like Nikki Glazer. Holy smokes!
So I'd marry her, and then I've been a Kim Kardashian fan for
marry Nikki Glazer, kill Gronk, and who you effing?
Kim Kardashian. I mean, that's the only answer.
I was gonna say if this is a real question, that's the only answer.
That's a real question, right?
Yeah.
All right. Well,
all right. So Andy, you're up. MFK.
So yeah,
Andy doesn't get the rules. Andy's still trying to figure out 3/5.
Oh, that's a shot. Can't just recycle their material.
Andy, do you know how to use the? Hey, Rich, has Andy heard about the three seashells?
I was with cousin Kev too when he said Gronk made him uncomfortable and the white boys talking about when Gronk was and talking about Kevin sucking his dick and getting a good grip, it was little too real right now, Gronk.
That's what I meant. It was a little too homoerotic for me. It was okay. Okay, and then he spiked the shot glass.
Somebody had to
Which
get
could have also
somewhere.
sent like shards of crystal into people's eyes.
Right. It
And
went
no, but
exploded.
I was getting a ton of text messages from like
I'm not picking
Boston,
Sam, Joey.
No, Boston Bruins centric fans that also love the Patriots that were like, bro, this is fun, but Gronk's a little bromo erotic for me right now.
I think
what I said to you,
here's what happened with Gronk. Here's exactly what happened with Gronk. He had all of his stuff written, but he went on in like the middle or like the second, like later on, he was getting destroyed. He was also drinking. So you get up there, you read some of your stuff, you get a little flustered, and then you just turn into like buzzed / drunk guy at the bar / party. We've all been there with our buddies, and then you start saying stuff that you're like, I probably shouldn't have said that, or I might regret that later on. And he goes in it, but he's doing it in front of millions of people, and he's got his former coach there, he's got his quarterback, and he's talking about all of them like blowing each other and giving each other hand jobs. And you're like, all right, Gronk, let's just move it
like
along.
with extra spit to lube it up. I'm like, whoa,
Way
like,
too
slow
graphic.
down.
Yeah, my wife was uncomfortable. Like when he made the gesture too of like kissing ass and then tonguing the asshole, and he's like,
yeah. That was. I was like,
There was a lot of dudes talking about tonguing asses tonight. All right, so
they're
our
all
first
white. They're
Adam
all
Wood,
white.
Adam
Kevin
Wood on
Hart's right.
Facebook. I know that's why Kevin Hart may have actually won the night. Adam Wood watching live on Facebook now, guys. Thanks very much for tuning in, everyone across all the socials from Fitzy GFY, Six Rings Podcast, Dork Podcast, and more. Affleck, I'd kill. I would F Nikki and marry Kevin.
I agree with that overall. I think Kevin Hart, I've never been a huge fan. Like, I think his movies are hit or miss. Honestly, his stand-up to me is kind of hit or miss. I thought he came out swinging, and he set such a great tone for the show. Yeah. He was so funny. He had a bunch of really good jokes on Brady. And then every time he kind of came up there, he would do either one of two things. He would either like prop up the person that just went and said how great they did, or he would just like, and also just rip that person. Like he had like 4 more jokes against that person, and it was great. Like he was an excellent host.
Who was it? Was it after Belichick though, where he like didn't? He was like, you know what? That was kind of touching and like.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And then he went on to say like, I actually did have a joke, and it was about like, you know, you're like a piece of shit, but you're like more than one piece of shit. You're like one piece of shit. And he's like, I don't really have anything. See, I don't think he had anything.
It was kind of weird. That part was a little weird.
But then he also like, I like how Kevin Hart referred to the Kraft Belichick beef as being worse than Kendrick and Drake's, and I was like, that's probably
topical. I like it.
I also loved Brady's joke that like the reason his knees were bad is because he was begging Netflix for Chappelle, and they only got him. Like that's a good joke.
Brady's was well written. Whoever came up with Brady's, Brady had some good zingers in there.
And guys, that's the toughest part too. Is like, how do you try to keep your set like evergreen? And how do you keep your set topical and make sure that many people don't step on your jokes? Because you could get like, you could perform halfway through, 2/3 of the way through, 3/4 of the way through the set, and all your jokes are burnt. And now what are you going to do with your material? Like, that's a great challenge. I'm not sure if
you go with Hitler humor and 9/11 and Hamas.
And by the way,
Austin Merrill.
Hitler was like a third rail. Like, stay away from Hitler jokes.
Like, wow, I had some 9/11 jokes in my Tom Brady roast, and I buried them, and now I feel like I probably should have let them fly. Well, I mean, hey, listen, you know, like Davey, you know, they always say like, comedy isn't doing its job unless it's making you uncomfortable.
Oh, it's got to make you. And I'm glad that Kevin Hart mentioned that at the beginning. I'm going to get the uncomfortable out of the way. Yeah. But one of the things that bothered me, speaking of like the two bears, so like Segura, they knew the jokes, but like, why is Bert laughing like an idiot, like snorting into the microphone? Like, you know these jokes. We wrote them together.
Didn't like it.
That was so stupid.
Well,
like,
what's also weird is the way that the thing was set up. They could all read the jokes if they wanted to. Right. They were all on prompter. And
like, this is a surprise to you.
Yeah. Do you think like somebody with Netflix that's producing it could go through, because if they're putting everybody's jokes in the prompter, couldn't they kind of go through them all ahead of time and then like bring like 2 comedians together and be like, hey, this one's a lot like that one. Like, I don't know if you guys want to switch them. Like, would they go that far? Is it that produced, or is it just like, all right, here's your stuff and we're going to throw it in the prompter? Because that could help a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't think they share notes, Rich, in advance. Like, okay. I don't think you have.
Well, somebody has
a buddy.
like,
no, well, I mean, I know for a fact they had several writers for the roast that were writing for Kevin Hart, and I mean, this is how every award show. Like, think of it as an award show, Andy. Like, This is
No,
an
I know,
Oscars,
but I
this
think
is a
Rich's
Grammy,
point
they
is more
have
like
a staff of
the
writers.
prompter guys. Like, even I'm typing this in, and it's fucking repetitive.
Yeah. Like, oh, you're doing that joke too. Oh, you're doing the dick sucking joke too. Like,
Okay.
Here we
Yeah,
go.
oh, could you imagine if that person saw all the scripts coming through and was like, actually, I don't really think you want to do the Robert Kraft joke here. Or like, we've kind of hit Belichick a bunch in a row. That's got to be one of the toughest parts of this too, is figuring out the run of show. Like, how do I stagger all the comedians? Because this guy's going to hit Belichick. He's going to do
I
Deflategate
think they
jokes.
kind of
He's-
they.
That's hard.
And
That's
maybe-
shout out to the producers.
Here's my thought. Maybe they wanted to like really kind of sell Peyton Manning, who I thought was fine. I didn't think he was great. I didn't think he was bad. I thought he was fine. And I think they also wanted to give a little bit of cushion for Tom Brady to make his set seem better. Because this thing went for 3 hours, and Kevin Hart, Nikki Glazer, and Jeff Ross all went in like the first 20 or 30. You know what I mean? And you're like, there were 3 of the best ones, and they were like all out right out the chute. Couple of things that jumped out to me too. One, they had that canned open with Bill Belichick, Brady, and Bledsoe, which was uncomfortable. Nobody did a very good job. And then,
as a matter of fact, Rich, let's run
it?
that right now, just in
Flip?
case anyone hadn't had a chance to see that.
I
This
brought
was the
it.
canned open to
Once was too
the
many.
Groat tonight on Netflix. Sorry about that, everybody. Here we go.
Again, this is a big night. The fans want you. Everyone wants you. But it's not your night. Sorry, Drew. Brady,
Yeah, coach.
you're in. Let's go.
Let's go. Are you fucking kidding me? Again?
Still fun. He's fun. Drew Bledsoe's line was funny. He delivered his
Don't
line
love
better
the,
than me.
don't love the. Yeah, I'm with Rich. Like, ba, 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 da,
Yeah.
da, da.
don't.
Yeah.
So, but I got nervous for a second because they do that little canned open, and then they show everybody up on stage. They do a quick pin, and there's no Belichick, and I'm like,
Same.
you got to be shitting me. I'm
Same.
like, is that all it was? And they can still promote that he was a part of it.
And even
yeah.
I think somebody in the middle said like, and who knows where Bill is tonight or something. And I was like, that was
Come on.
really the only Bill I'm gonna get, because that was horrific. But then obviously
And
it played out.
And he shows up, so that was great. And then also, I was legit shocked that Robert Kraft was there. I was shocked that Robert Kraft spoke, and I was shocked that Kevin Hart pulled both of these guys up to take a shot. And I've never felt more strongly in the take that Belichick can't stand him still. And you
He
can
didn't
tell
want to do the shot.
Oh,
He didn't drink it.
Nope.
Yeah, didn't drink it.
He didn't, right? He
Yeah,
did.
Wanted no
He
part.
held it
And,
up,
like,
but he didn't
in
drink it.
addition to the fact that Tom Brady said, like, during that Will Smith moment, like, that's enough of that shit. Later on the show, Robert Kraft gets his chance to do like 3 quick lines and then starts the impromptu shot, thinking like this will be a breaking bread. And Belichick still was just like, "Nah, I'm good, guy. Listen, I swear, I'll see you June 12th. I know we're gonna have to go through that song and dance as well.
Didn't want
I'm
to hear it.
fine. Let's just let bygones be bygones. You do your thing. I'll do my thing, and let's move on."
Yeah, he was not. He was
Yeah, that
not
was awkward.
interested.
That
That was
was,
strange. He told the same story that he's told 1,000 times, which they also even referenced earlier in the show about you're the greatest decision you've ever made, which also hasn't Brady said, I didn't say that.
Yes.
Yeah, that's been disputed multiple times, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Like,
Not true.
What's great, and then right after that, Kevin Hart was like, "All right, just remind him what just happened and where when he gets to his seat, remind him what just happened because he has no idea what's going on right
Dude,
now."
How about Edelman being like, I don't think we'll see all these. I thought the next time we'd see everybody together would be at Kraft's funeral. I was like, what a line.
Yeah.
I love it. Like, he was great. Like, also, but what do you think about, like, all right, let's just be super petty for a second. Wardrobe choices. I love the fact that they made fun of Randy Moss for like
Bagger
what-
Vance.
but the magical black man on the golf course.
Bagger
but-
Vance, and then the substitute teacher.
Edelman showing up as the guy, I would say, like, looking like he just like ripped it up on the dance floor at a wedding and was definitely ready to fuck a bridesmaid is like such an Edelman choice.
He looked like he lived for New Year's Eve.
Yeah, he did.
He had that look. Sloppy
Sloppy
step.
jeans, slick back hair. Yeah.
Yeah, and like I still think Gronk is just uncomfortable with Earth. Not
Dude,
to
that
forget
was-
about English, anything. If he's not playing football, God
How about
love the man.
Kevin Hart has the wireless mic and he's like, sound it out. Just sound it out, Gronk.
Found it out.
That was good. The dude from Kill Tony, it's funny. I've seen clips of Kill Tony. I know it's like one of the most popular podcasts ever. He has like 1 million comedians on, but I'm not really familiar with him. And he went up there and just shredded everybody. He
had zero fear. Richie, like his crowd work was like 12 out of 10.
Yeah.
And it was rapid fire too. He like just went down the line. Like it was great.
So Davey, that either means somebody is feeding him lines in an IFB, or they just trust him. Like, you're that funny, you can go ahead and extemporaneously just get up there and just murder people.
Well, you know better than anybody that while you're doing that, you're just watching and observing and thinking. Like, you're always clocking like what other people are saying. And so he must have just been like the whole time. Yeah.
But you're just like, if you're at a roast and you've got if I've got my like Rich Keefe, Davey and Andy Hart jokes, and then other people start coming at me I wasn't prepared for, I've either got to like make them in my head, or I've got to write them down on a little piece of paper in my jacket pocket, and then just be ready to try to make it seem more. Like, it's tough. And he was, like you said, Rich, he was seamless.
Yeah.
Like, just organically joyful in his presentation. He's the kind of guy that'll get a bump off of tonight.
Oh, yeah. I kind of think everybody, Ben Affleck will get a different kind of bump.
Yeah, not great.
Everybody else, I think.
The other thing too, what was Jeff Ross doing? Like, so during that set, like
looking like Lex Luthor that gave up,
but he was trying to kick him.
Hollywood cemetery. His shit's dead. He was
trying to like kick people as they walk by him, and then he was like, at one point he was like climbing up. Like,
the climbing over thing was weird.
Like, what are you doing?
Yeah,
stay low.
The one thing I wondered about this, and it's the same question I asked about the Dynasty, is we are now hosting a podcast as a group of New Englanders, Patriots fans, with a bunch of people chatting about it. Like, how did this resonate in Spokane? How did this resonate in Austin, Texas?
This way more than the Dynasty.
I thought so too.
The Dynasty, only because Jeff Ross does all the roasts. If you like a roast, Jeff Ross is there. You feel like you're in good hands. Nikki Glazer's always good. Kevin Hart is one of the most successful stand-up comedians in the world. Bert and Tom have their massive audience, right? And then just Brady, Belichick. Like, I think people might be more intrigued about this. And like, as a sports fan overall, what a bizarre setting to watch these guys. Like, imagine 20 years ago, after they had won their third Super Bowl, you're like, hey, in 20 years from now, there's going to be a roast, and like all these guys are going to be up there, and they're going to be like ripping each other and like talking about like.
But I was going to be. It's going to be on a streaming platform that was named for a DVD platform that you used to use, but they stopped using DVDs 10 years ago.
I was more along the lines of like when Belichick makes the Amendola joke. Oh, we got Danny Amendola, and he got 200 yards. I think people outside of New England, in New England, it's only moderately like, but like some of that stuff, no one cares about. Like, but I would have cut out.
I think I would say that's why they would stagger like Patriot comedian. Like they have.
But I also think you are grossly underestimating how much the rest of the country hates the Patriots, and more so Tom Brady. Like, it's not about football. It's about like, we just fucking hate Tom Brady. We want to watch people make fun of him.
Absolutely. No, but that's what I mean. Like, stick to the big theme, not the like we don't need Belichick Matt Light joke. That's for like a New England version.
Oh yeah. That didn't land.
Yeah,
we thought that was funny, but that didn't really.
No one
land
else cares. Like, who cares?
Yeah, what do you guys think? Like, in terms of like just having a chance to, obviously we're a little, skewed in terms of our observation, but like, what do you guys think? What percentage of tonight's show? I know they weren't thinking of Patriots fans when they were writing their sets and presenting it, but like, how do you think, in terms of tonight's show, what came across as like stuff for Patriots fans, and what was meant for NFL and just general fans en masse?
I think most of it was general. That's what I'm saying. Like, I think maybe there was like a 15% like too specific, too Patriots, and I would put the Amendola, the light jokes in there, some of that crap, some of the player stuff. But like, obviously the big picture stuff, Deflategate, Spygate, Aaron Hernandez, all those are.
How about Brady straight up admitting Deflategate?
Yeah. And I'm taking that as an admission.
He admitted.
I am too.
You know who should take a fucking victory lap? And I shouldn't say this. Well, yeah, but somebody else. Sorry,
Matt Walsh.
Michael Felger, who built an entire career by basically saying, "Yes, but you did it." Yes, but he might. And I know we're probably not supposed to say that, but I can acknowledge that the guy said that 10 million times, and Tom Brady just said, "Yeah, but I did it."
I did it. $20 million. I'll tell you, I did it. It was amazing.
It's the OJ book. If I
no,
did
there was
it,
no
here's
if.
how I would.
There was no if. He was like, you could have just paid me to tell you I did it.
How about Brady's joke about a slow white Bronco? I thought I was going to meet a legend.
Excellent.
He's fucking dead.
That was good.
That's a good line. Yeah, it's a hell of
Very good line.
As good as was Kim Kardashian saying that her family has defended enough football players.
Yeah.
Let me see what else I have left in the clip vault. Hold on one sec, boys. Here we go. Here's a random clip. Here we go.
So, hey, look, buddy, you have more rings than I do, but I've
Sorry about that.
That's that one. That's Drew.
And we have one more from Coach. But no, I'm not, Andy. You would just like saying that in any podcast after 10 p.m.
Giving you.
I'm so honored to be here for the roast of Tom Brady on Netflix. It's not to be confused. It's not to be confused with the roast of Bill Belichick on the 10-part Apple TV series.
All right, so that was the Belichick
joke was
line.
told in WEEI.
Yeah, we did that year. We did that days ago, Andy.
He kind of butchered it, but it was a good
self-awareness.
Yeah.
Also, did they have to? He was like Mick Foley there with the cheap pop. Great to be here on Netflix for the roast of Tom Brady. Like,
yeah,
what was that all
yeah, that was a cheap pop line. Yeah,
cheap heat.
Yeah,
but otherwise, I thought Belichick had I would say in terms of if we had to do like an immediate power ranking of. Even though we had a feeling they would be there, like celebrity power rankings in terms of their appearances, I would say Belichick gold medal, Peyton silver, Affleck bronze.
No. Wait. No.
What about Ron Burgundy?
No. All right, I'm glad you brought
up Davey Burgundy was a huge,
not great,
flat. Like that was a swinging single, if anything.
I have a soft spot for Ron Burgundy, as I would say most people do, and I was happy to see him. He came out there and he kind of went back and forth and is this going to be any good? And then he had a couple of good zingers, I thought, a couple of good lines when he's like, is it Brady or Belichick? He's like, no, it's for sure Brady. He was doing some of that stuff. And you're like, all right, that's not bad. But it seemed a little unnecessary. Another one, we're talking about guys you could cut. I think if you take non-celebrities out, I would say Belichick was the second best one after Edelman. I think they were both better than Drew. I think Drew was solid. I think they were both better than Drew. I think they were both better than Gronk. I think they're better than Peyton Manning. I think they were certainly better than Randy Moss.
I think Drew was actually better, but that Bill feels better because it's Bill, because of the aura, persona, angst.
Oh, you're just like Kevin Hart kind of laid it on a little thick, but he's right. He's like, dude, I think it's just great that you're here. He's like, some people would think that you wouldn't be here. You're here. Jesus Christ. That's amazing. And so he had a good time with it. He seemed more comfortable. He was less awkward than I thought he was going to be.
Yeah, no, and he did a good job. This is something that I find fascinating, and are these guys? Obviously, they're fake laughing sometimes,
yes,
and fake smiling. To me, there's a skill in that
to a degree.
I thought they kind of did it pretty well. Yeah, no, you're not laughing at everything. Some of these kicks in the nuts. At some point, you're like, please stop kicking me, sir. Please.
There was sometimes Brady was not laughing. They paid him quickly,
and then
when he went up and whispered in Jeff Ross's ear, cut the.
That was lame. That was the lame of the night.
That was the worst.
That was the biggest dud of the night. Did he really have to defend Mr. Kraft's honor? And also, didn't he?
Michael Felger would say, but he did it.
No, but they were laying on the Giselle stuff pretty heavy in the beginning, and you could tell he was like, okay.
Where he really didn't like it was Kevin Hart, and I certainly can't make the joke, but Kevin Hart was making a joke about Tom Brady being a lot like something, and he was talking about this, that, the other thing. And he's and not taking care of your kids. And you can tell that kind of hit him. He was like, I
did not like that.
No. That's
and no one talked about kissing the kids. Couple things.
Pause.
Yeah.
Hey, guys, real quick. We probably should wrap up soon. This was the fastest 45 minutes in post roast show podcast history. And thank you once again to the boys from the Dork Podcast for issuing their normal Sunday night recording time, for jumping on with the Six Rings guys here on the WEI podcast platform to talk about the Tom Brady roast.
We have
live
listeners.
We're right now, guys. It is nice to have 6,500 people watching live right now. That is pretty freaking great.
Wow.
So we love.
Wait, real quick along those lines.
Yeah.
What kind of numbers you think this had for roast.
Considering that is one of the first Netflix live
Yeah.
viewer things,
it-
I'd
Good
probably
question.
say like 4.5.
4?
No,
more
20.
than that.
No, 4.5.
There were more than 4.5 million people watching. I guarantee it.
Nope.
Think?
Yep.
I don't know.
That's a lot of people.
Absolutely.
Well,
Nope,
Netflix
absolutely.
won't
Netflix
say.
famously never divulges their numbers.
We
so
can
we'll
price
never
it
know.
right.
I can never be wrong.
I would say 3. If my gut says 3.
Come on, less people
No,
than
Davey's with
watching
me.
Clark?
Davies, I'm on the Davey side of the street. I'm on the eyeballs.
Well, I don't want to go
Clark.
over. I don't want to go over. It's between
No, I
Price
wanna
is
go
Right, right?
10 million people.
Well, I mean, if 6,000 are watching us, I would say at least 6,000.
Yeah, 10 million plus. I'm with Rich Coat.
10 million plus?
Why not?
All right, so everyone, pick your favorite roaster of the night. Was Hart with you? Start.
What was it?
Favorite roaster of the night.
So I'm
No,
gonna go
one, just-
Julian
just-
Edelman. I'm gonna
Wow,
go Julian
really?
Edelman because I
Oh,
did
good. Come on.
it was unexpected, and I thought he might struggle a little bit. Like, remember his stupid retirement thing? I thought was lame ass. And
Sure was
bad.
there. Sure was.
So this, to me, I thought like, oh, this might be lame. This might be bad. And he went no holds barred. Remember, like he was the Hamas joke. Like he was going all.
He was the hung joke too.
That's
Yes.
good
I-
point.
Oh my
good point.
God, you're right.
I thought the Hamas joke was like solid, like that. But that's what you're at a roast for. Jokes that
You
move
gotta have
you off your
balls to
seat.
pull it off.
Dude,
No, you gotta-
real quick, sorry to jump ahead, but the Tom Brady joke about he's like Gronk was like a great tight end, but of course the bar for tight ends is pretty low.
Yeah.
He's like catch, block, don't murder. I was like, Jesus
I think
Christ.
that was the point. My son was like, how do you feel if you're Aaron Hernandez's family? And I go, him? How do you feel if you're the family of, and I apologize, I forget the name. He murdered somebody.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Odin Lloyd. Yeah.
Odin
Or
Lloyd, yeah.
also, how about the
Odin
fucking?
Lloyd's
How
family.
about Ben Coates' family? That's like, I made '87 great before Gronk did.
True, and he didn't murder
Son of a
anybody, right?
bitch. No,
not that I know
no,
of.
allegedly. All right, so Andy, you're gonna go with Edelman. Davey.
I'm gonna go with Nikki Glazer. I thought she was fucking razor sharp,
Oh.
seamless. Timing was on point. Like every joke killed. I thought she was great.
Yeah, I would probably agree. I think Nikki Glazer is great. I think Kevin Hart overall, but he's kind of unfair because he gets to talk way more than everybody else. So you get to you see him throughout the night. But
That makes it harder.
His
But he gets to react to what everyone else
Yeah,
says. Too.
he
So
does.
that's-
Yeah.
His
An easy
open was fantastic.
job. Good point. Good point.
His open was fantastic, and then I would say Glazer, and then I'd probably give it to the Kill Tony guy. I thought he crushed.
Yeah, he's getting grossly overlooked by most people that are saying like Belichick, Glazer, Gronkowski, Edelman.
Kill
And-
Tony was good. Even Andrew Schultz was good. He was kind of the comedian that went late in the program. He was
I know.
very
Stupid
good.
haircut.
Yeah.
And
Well,
I'm just disappointed at no point was he like, and Mighty Mouse, I'll kill her if you don't. Or was he was he just like, I'll sink the Titanic, you see here. But he knows he's gonna get all those jokes, and
Yeah,
they're
he's
surface level, they're tertiary, and they're easy. That said, very funny guy. I love the Kill Tony guy. I'm gonna go ahead and just be I'm gonna go ahead and play the part as I program here on the Fitzy socials. I'm gonna play the part of the Tom Brady super fan, not Tom Brady. No, I'm gonna go with the Patriots homer. Belichick, I thought was awesome.
He's good.
He was surprisingly good. And
But
just
that's
for the
why it
Gronk
seemed-
line alone, and like Andy, you know what it was? It was I expected less and I got so much more.
Right.
And also, I think a lot of us, and you and I talk to them, Rich, you do as well. And I'm sure you get a lot of like the toxic blowback, Davey, just hanging with Rich, listening to EI and beyond. There's just been so much negativity for the last couple of years related to Belichick, related to the Patriots. To see him happy, to see Brady happy, to see former Patriots happy, to see Pat's Nation happy tonight. It was just such a joyous occasion.
And my wife actually said during Bill, like, "Oh, I like this Bill," and I was like,
Yeah.
this is-
I think
After
he's
what
gonna
Bill
when
did.
he's with the Mannings, he's gonna crush it.
Watch
with
out,
the Mannings.
Mrs. Hart.
Probably. Yeah.
Oh, he's gonna
Also, he's
kill
Too
him.
old for
He's
him.
gonna crush it.
Dude, you know what was funny though too is like Bill still like a lot of the same stuff that we've talked about on the air for years is still there. Like Bill and Tom did like the hey, yeah, we're getting along. But Bill at the end, like most roasters at the end, they kind of lay it on thick with like how great you are. Bill didn't really do that. And did you notice as soon as Peyton Manning finished his thing,
I
he
guess-
sprinted up and hugged Manning, and then
Who
Brady
ma-
like the
Wait, sorry. I'm sorry to interrupt, Rich. Who was the person who made the joke? Edelman was the only guy to return a kickoff for a refund.
That was Kill Tony, I think.
yeah,
Yeah,
it might have been.
yeah. The Drew Bledsoe line was pretty good too.
Drew Bledsoe's good, and then Edelman being like, between me and Jeff Ross are people are like, oh, you're Jewish.
What a great! Honestly, guys, lucky us. It was really, it was super fun.
Really well done.
Like 4 out of every 5 performers.
Yes,
was great. Only a couple of the guys hit the wall at 1,000 miles an hour, banged into the sidewall on the way to the finish line, or just
Moss
flat out didn't belong, or
could have been an hour shorter.
I know.
Unreal.
Yes, that's the only. I wouldn't say, Davey, it could have been an email, but it definitely could have been an hour shorter.
Yeah. I would say 45 right off the top.
Yep. All right. Let's work our way around the room. Then I'll wrap it up for everyone. Thank you once again for listening to everything that we've said tonight here on the Six Rings podcast. #Dork and across the WEI socials. Let's go around the room. Andy Hart, final thoughts from the Tom Brady roast tonight.
I was pleasantly surprised with the whole damn thing, and that made me wonder because I immediately tweeted out, "I hope this gets better" or something after that stupid open.
I saw and I didn't reply. I was like, I'm going to let Andy have to own this one because I think it's going to.
I think that was intentional. I think they intended to be lame, to be like, oh shit, this is going to be awful. This is going to be a Patriot production.
Okie dokie.
Belichick. And then it was like, oh my God, this is going to be awesome shortly thereafter.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I think like the Glazer girl just really lit it up. And you're like, oh shit, it's on. This is on like Donkey Kong. And so, yeah, I was pleasantly surprised. I mean, yeah, you could have shaved. It's like any movie. Oh, it's a great movie, but try to keep under 2 hours for me. Like I want to get back to life. But other than that, no complaints.
Arvon D, what you got?
Yeah, same thing. I mean, I thought this was it moved. It wasn't a slog. Like I said, there were some times in the middle where I'm like, you probably could cut that, but like I genuinely had a smile on my face the entire time. I thought this was a fantastic idea and something that Netflix should start. And someone made a joke that there is no commercial. They wish Netflix had commercials. I'm thrilled that like there were no commercials. It was just let's just go. And they kind of kept it moving. But other than that, like you said, trim a little bit. But other than that, no notes. This is great, and I hope they do it with more people. I wonder who's going to step. This is pretty brutal, so I wonder who's going to step up next and be like, I want to do that.
Well, funny, Ben Affleck. That was one of Ben Affleck's jokes, if you will. Was like, I'm not doing this shit. He's like, I'm not going to step into this. Like, no thanks. So for me, this was so much better than I imagined. I wasn't even planning on watching it right away, and then you heard Bill Belichick was involved, and I'm like, wow, that's interesting. I said it'd be interesting. And I'm like, as far as like the Dork podcast or just the radio show, I'm like, well, we're gonna have to talk about this. We're gonna have to react to this. But then right away, the way Kevin Hart kind of opened up the whole thing, I was like, oh, this is actually gonna be pretty good. And I guess I haven't realized how long it's been since we've had a roast. There aren't really a lot of roasts. I used to watch them. It was like once a year, you'd see a roast. It'd be somebody like, oh, I'll watch this. And it's been a while, and so it was great, and it was just so bizarre. I mean, as you know what I mean, as like the greatest quarterback ever, the greatest coach ever, a bunch of other great football players with these like amazing comedians, and they're all just kind of going back and forth, ripping each other. It was like, it's cool.
There was a little bit of like, is this real?
Yes,
is this really happening?
Yeah. My big takeaway was this is one of the lighter sides that you'll see of the 20 years of the dynastic run of the Patriots. That it's got a million different perspectives. It's got a million different sides, a million different stories to be told. Tonight, we got a lot of the lighter sides, a lot of the funnier stuff. People didn't love the Dynasty series because like they went for the scurrilous side. They went for the evil and the ugly underbelly. Tonight, we got a lot of the jokes and like a lot of the funny stories. And they were willing to tie into the way that those would be told if you were in a bar room or hanging out with the players. It was great. It was a lot of fun. And there's still like, I think we can all agree this isn't the end of all the stories that will come from the double dynastic run for 20 years, but this was a super fun way to look at the Tom Brady years. Yeah. And I love the fact that all those guys, the ancillary players, Drew Bledsoe, Julian Edelman, making fun of Matt Light, Gronk, etc., were highlighted. They deserve their love too. It was super fun. It was a great way to spend 3 hours as a football fan on a Sunday night.
I agree.
All right, there we go.
Other than like last season, probably wasn't. But
well, that was better than any Patriots game in the last couple of years.
More entertaining than any Sunday last fall. That's true.
Yeah, it was better than any way to spend a day watching Mac Jones play football. Exactly. All right,
that was great job too. You
got smoked once too.
Mac Jones took a stray. That was great.
I can't believe Mac Jones caught a foul. I can't believe Mac Jones got hammered during this as well. We shouldn't be surprised as well. All right, he is at Rich Keefe 21 at Keefe 21 at Dork Podcast. Thanks very much, Rich. As well, he is. Let's see, what do we got over here? He is the Maniac at Jumbo Hart. He is at R Von D. Those gentlemen from the Dork Podcast, they'll be back. Guys, when are you going to record your next podcast? I know we had to bump you guys tonight. Sorry about that.
No problem. So at Dork Podcast on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. We stream live on YouTube, and then you can find the podcast #Dork on the Odyssey app, on Apple, Spotify. And so we normally do Sunday nights, but this week, Tuesday, we are going to do Baby Reindeer, the #1 show on Netflix, which is a wild program. So we're going to do that. And then the following week, we're going to do a couple of Star Wars shows, Bad Batch and Tales of the Empire. So that's what we got.
Cannot also wait, by the way, for Acolyte, which premieres in
that's
early
coming out
June
in June
as well.
Yep.
Maybe we can even get Andy Hart to bone up on Star Wars for our next Dork /Six Rings crossover.
I got my lightsaber, my custom lightsaber from Disney World back there, Fitzy. You can't see it, but he's back there.
Davey, I love it. Attaboy. I'll be on the Rich Keefe show this week, Monday night and Thursday night. Andy Hart will be jumping in on the what are you going to call it on Thursday, Andy?
Hart show.
My show with the two people who annoy you usually in that time slot.
All right, let's go ahead and lop that sound off. We'll save that and repeat it. That'll be great. Andy Hart, a former employee of Odyssey Boston, has been a terrific contributor to the podcast. This was a ton of fun, guys. Thanks very much. It was a great crossover event. The #Dork Podcast with Six Rings, reviewing the Tom Brady roast on a Sunday night. That was a ton of fun. Make sure you subscribe to #Dork. It's available on the Odyssey app, on Spotify, Apple Pods, and wherever you get awesome podcasts. And of course, you know where to find Six Rings and Talk Patriots. Okay, guys. Thanks very much. Everybody have a great rest of your Sunday. Have an awesome Monday and a terrific
Monday
week.
now.
Is it really? Oh,
Yep.
shit. You're right. All right. Well, everybody, hey, fuck them all. God bless and go Pats. There you go.